Hey, Pat.
Hey, Matt.
How are you doing?
I'm
This
pretty
isn't
good, actually.
about you. This is about the listeners. Hey, listeners, we have had an idea.
Yeah, we had a very good idea, Matt.
We were thinking about old forms of promotion, forms of marketing for people who can't afford marketing teams. And we were thinking about how crowded of a field the podcast world is. And we have a bunch of flyers. We thought maybe it would be fun to rely on you, our listeners, to get those flyers out to places that we can't reach.
We're going back to paper. Matt, you and I have been visiting comic book shops in the American Northeast. We've covered about a 30-mile radius to this point.
Right. And
slow going.
And we know that you guys are spread out across the United States, even sometimes other countries. So what can they do, Pat?
What they can do is take some of these flyers that we printed up and leave them with local comic book shops. Just say, hey, my friends, you can call us friends, my friends run a podcast, and would you mind just leaving some flyers in your flyer area?
If that sounds interesting to you, send us an email at mutantmenacepod@gmail.com with the subject line Street Team. Leave us your address and tell us your favorite X-Man. And me and Pat, neither of whom can draw, will draw you a picture of of your favorite X-Man as a thank you. Drop us a line, become part of our street team if that sounds fun to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's play the show, Pat.
Play the song.
I'm Trish Toby with WARC reporting to you live from Westchester, New York, where there appears to be some sort of mutant menace on the loose.
Hey, I'm Pat Reber.
And I'm Matt Allcamp.
And say it with us, Pete. Welcome
to Mutant Menace.
Matt, I thought you were going to fix that clip.
I know. What time do I have
Huge
to
thanks,
fix a
Pete.
clip? Thank you, Pete. You rule.
Yeah. You're perfect.
Yeah. How are you doing, Pat?
Matt,
That was fast. What the
Is there
fuck?
not even time? Somebody's got to talk to. Somebody call our IT guy.
Okay, well.
All right, it is time for Pat's email corner. We do have a couple emails today, both from familiar listeners. This first one comes from the Sine Wave podcast.
Whoa! Oh, a whole podcast emailed us.
Let me clarify.
Okay.
Sine Wave Sean is writing to us from his podcast account.
Okay. All right. Well,
Listen, if he doesn't want to give us his personal email, I guess that's the level we're at. We thought we were podcast friends. Anyway, he says, hey, Pat, tell Matt. I'm sorry. He subjects the email top of the morning to you. Oh. And he goes on to say, hey, Pat, tell Matt that as a fellow New Mutants enjoyer, I think that most of the cast of that movie are great, but it would have been a lot better served if they'd just been allowed to make it a weird horror movie. As much as Anya Taylor-Joy was great as Magic, those racially charged comments she made to Danny were pretty rough.
Yes, that is
absolutely true. Right. Maybe Cyclops is so insistent on letting everyone know he's not a baby because he now knows that being turned into a baby is a thing that can happen to people.
That's a good point.
No comments on the depiction of Ireland in these issues. It's all 100% accurate. Every Irish castle is full of trapdoors. All the roads are bad, and there are leprechauns running around everywhere, pulling people into holes in the wall.
Oh.
We do have shoulders here, both on roads and right below our heads. Okay. Also, here's his last Ireland fact. Amen is pronounced as Amen. And then he goes on, here's the problem I have. He goes on to say...
Did we say it differently?
Don't worry, Pat, you got it. Here's what I said. Amen. And
you said it with a D at the end.
Yeah, I did. And sometimes my regional accent takes over, so it may come across more as Eamon. I know the name. What I was doing was adding a D because I could have sworn that's an Irish name. It's actually a name from Game of Thrones.
Did I say Eamon or Eamon?
No, you've been pronouncing it right, which is why he says, don't worry, Pat, you got it.
Okay. Well,
I think he means like, you can do this, not you got it right.
Well, we can't go back and check, so we're just gonna have to
Like,
move forward. Well, thank you
yeah,
so much for
that
the
episode
email.
is in the vault now. We also have an email from Weapon Jason, who
Ooh, I like that guy too.
I think is replying to episode 20 when he says, "Hey, Matt and Pat agree that Sinners is a great film, and you have to note that Michael B. Jordan had another MCU link since he was amazing as Killmonger in Black Panther." He
That's
goes
true.
on to say, "We knew that, and of course we did." But our movie talk has made him add New Mutants and the outfit to his watch lists.
Hell
Please
yeah.
let us know how you feel. Oh, okay. So he goes on, paraphrasing here, just to agree with us on a handful of things. Number one, Imperial Guard fucking rules. Number two, the splash panels to open issue 107 also rule. He points out that Terry Austin's inks really do provide more of a crispness to Burns' pencils. So when we get to some of his, I think it's like Burns' third issue on the X-Men, it just looks way smoother.
Right.
There is, he says, this is really another level of writing and art that no one else is doing at this time. And you can see why it'll influence a whole generation of writers and artists. And then finally, he points out, keep in mind, the comic book shop is not really much of a thing at this time. Most
Mhm.
readers are getting these off spinner racks in the supermarket or in a department store. So that Logan revelation is even more of an inside baseball secret on the playground than you think.
That is interesting. Oh yeah, because I think you did say that was like
It's like a comic
cur-
book shop nerd.
currency,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's just playground. Yeah. The thing
Or
about John
the water cooler if you're an adult that enjoys X-Men.
the thing about John Burns, John Byrne, inkers for John Byrne is that John Byrne's best inker is John Byrne. He inks himself on Alpha Flight, and as as far as I've seen, that was John Byrne's best art.
He's
Better
the
than
only
his
one that knows what he's going for.
right. And guess who colors John Byrne throughout his Alpha Flight run?
Who's that?
Some Yankees.
Oh,
Well, thank you for the email, Weapon Jason. Is that all Weapon Jason had to say?
it is, but I feel like we can discuss some of his points a little. Oh,
No.
okay.
Oh, sorry. We can't. We can't. I
All right.
wish. I really wish. I
Thank you,
wish.
Sound Cue. That is the end of Pat's email corner.
Guess Pat's email corner's over. Now what do
Well,
we do?
only one thing left to do. Have you done anything X-Men related this week?
You know, Pat, I have.
Really?
This week I went to my lady friend. Her favorite band was one of her favorite bands was playing in Philadelphia, and it was Lord Huron. I'm not a huge fan of the music,
Okay.
but I went and the stagecraft was really cool. They had really interesting backdrops and a lot of cool like set design. They had a whole storyline running throughout the show in between
Whoa.
songs and during songs that, I don't know how much it related to the songs 'cause I'm not a big fan, but I think it was just independent of the songs, and it was fun. I also, got a $23 mixed drink
Jesus Christ.
in a souvenir plastic cocktail shaker.
Oh, if it came with a souvenir cup, then absolutely worth it.
And it's yeah. So
And Matt, that sounds very exciting.
yeah,
What part of this was X-Men related? If you remember the feedback I gave you a couple episodes back about.
yeah. I guess it. Yeah, I guess it wasn't really. Pat, did you do anything X-Men related this week?
In fact, I did, Matt.
Oh, okay.
I read through. So when you and I went on our little tour, I don't know why I'm
Our cute little tour.
playing it down. When you and I went across Philadelphia and New Jersey to a handful of local comic book shops,
You already
I
did
picked up
this one.
plenty of comics and ended up picking up Siege, the event by Brian Michael Bendis, and
Oh, okay.
finally read through it. I've actually never read
How'd you feel? Yeah.
Pretty good. There is one frame where they throw it to Cyclops looking at the screen and saying, I told you this would happen. And then there's another panel where somebody refers to Scott Summers. So,
yeah, that is
X-Men related. I was talking to somebody, or I had some friends over for Dungeons and Dragons last night, and they saw it and asked me about it, and I was trying to explain the events era of Marvel and Brian Bendis' sort of overarching, and I don't want to spoil anything because some of it is very heavily X-Men tied, but just like the Secret War into House of M, into Civil War, into Secret Invasion, into Dark Reign, into Siege, into
Fear itself.
That leads into Civil War 2.
It's Fear itself and then Civil, or maybe it is Civil War 2. No, it is Fear itself and then Civil War 2, and then I think not long after that is Secret Wars,
which is when Hickman kind of takes over the event plotting, and I don't think they've ever really left that mode, right?
If I'm remembering correctly, I don't know. I think the company-wide crossovers slowed down there, and then you would get title-wide crossovers like X-Men events and Avengers events, but not very many Marvel-wide crossovers. This is an era I'm not very familiar with, so I might be fucking making shit up.
I fell off a little bit. I've come back recently when they did.
We also missed Age of Ultron, I think, was in there.
Oh yeah, there was a. There's just so much going on. It's
impossible to quantify. From 2000 to like 2015 was just nonstop events. It's hard to. I mean, I think that might be what made me start putting Marvel Comics down, and why I was gone for a while.
It's why you went back to the very beginning.
yeah. So, well, I think I stopped entirely for a couple years. I was just so tired of it. I was reading actual books, Pat.
That's stupid.
We missed Axis. We missed, there was the War of Kings. There was so much that happened in there that we missed. Original Sin was in there.
Right. It was this endless loop. And just, listen, there's some incredibly good comics in that Marvel 15-year run, right?
Yeah.
But it's just, it got to be so much. I just want people to get back to their normal lives once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what killed comics in the 90s, was all the events and all the special issues and such.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to the fucking 90s.
I am in the 90s in my personal read, and man, it goes, there are certain bits that it's like, oh, this actually rules. This is better than I thought. And then suddenly it just dive bombs. It just plummets into garbage.
Things are going to get funny again.
There was clearly a thing that Chris Claremont was building to for years. And he got so frustrated by the way that Jim Lee was fucking it up that he just quits mid-arc. And Fabian Nicieza has to pick it up. Can't wait to get there and complain and complain and complain.
Stick around, folks. Only about 3 more years of this podcast before we reach this era.
The only way, though, Pat, that we can get there, the only way out is through. And you know how we get through?
I know what you're trying to set me up for, Matt, but I don't know that what we read today is actually getting us any closer.
Yeah, it feels like it is. We are circling farther and wider, and it's making our journey a little less direct. But Pat, I want to tell you about Marvel Team Up number 69. Night of the Living God.
Whoa. Oh, wow. That sounds sick. Living God?
Sounds like it's going to be incredible, right? A living God. So, author, Chris Claremont. Penciler, John Byrne. Chris Claremont and John Byrne?
Wow.
And a living God. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
R. Villamonte is the inker. Jay Costanza is the letterer. Mary Titus is the colorist. And Archie Goodwin is the editor at this point. I do want to say, this episode, we are trying to track where Havok and Polaris were during the time that we didn't see them in the X-Men.
Yeah. And we made some reference to it last episode, I think, where there was a situation where Alex Summers had been kidnapped and Lorna Dane needed help.
So now we're going to find out what that is. This all sounds so fucking exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Living God, Alex Summers kidnapped. We get to find out what's been happening. Release date, February 21st, 1978. Cover date, May 1978. As Alex Summers and Lorna Dane take a nice walk along the banks of Muir Isle. 3 white men dressed like Steve Martin's King Tut with super complicated guns. Watch them from above. Oh boy. Okay, we know where this is going. The couple are reminiscing about recent events when the white guys in Egyptian headdresses fire lasers at them. Alex's Havok costume suddenly appears on his body as he blasts the extras from the mummy. When more show up in some Blade Runner-looking hovercraft, Havok recognizes their headdresses as belonging to the crew of the Living Pharaoh.
I guess he's officially taken that name, the Living Pharaoh, since he never named himself the last time we saw this character.
Yeah, and Scott said, he's like some kind of living pharaoh.
This guy, for listeners that don't remember, is the worst.
He is a professor of archaeology at some unnamed university in Egypt.
He thinks himself a pharaoh, and he thinks all pharaohs mutants imbued with great power by God.
Yes, that's what he believes, because he is a mutant, and somehow his powers are linked to Alex Summers.
How, Matt?
We don't know. Okay, here's the thing about this that I'm excited for. We complained that the 4 issues the Living Pharaoh was in back in the 1960s, they never told us why he was doing what he was doing. They never gave us an origin. They never even gave us a full name. We just know him as Professor Abdul, right?
Yeah, we only know we don't even know his first name.
So this has to be Chris Claremont going back and fixing that, right? We have to get an origin here, right?
Yeah, we're in good hands, at least, with a shitty villain.
So I'm excited. I think we're finally going to get some background on who this fucking guy is, because I don't know who he is.
All right, let's keep going.
All right, Polaris, shouting her own name, uses her magnetic powers to tear the ship apart just before another laser blast knocks her off the cliff. Havok is hit with some weird bolo that negates his power and wraps itself around him like mummy bandages, and the remaining White Prince of Egypt dudes drag him into their remaining ship as he pleads desperately for them to help Lorna, who is likely drowning. But as they fly away, we see Lorna's hand gripping a rock from beneath the freezing cold Scottish waters. Cut to the campus of Empire State University, where a sleepy Peter Parker is working in his chemistry lab when he spies some more Egyptian-themed white men stealing some kind of ankh out of Professor Craig's office. You know, Professor Craig.
My buddy Craig.
Deciding it seems like a fun crime to stop, he webs up the door, but when they don't come out, he runs to the window to see them fleeing in a Logan's Run-ass hovercraft and bursts through the door only to get caught in his own web.
Can we take a moment to address all of this?
Yeah.
Hang on. Spider-Man is a man driven by great responsibility, right? Famously, if he sees something bad happening, he says, if I don't stop this, I'm responsible for whatever happens. He doesn't need additional motivation to chase a bunch of super villain henchmen that are breaking into a scientific lab and stealing something. Yet.
Here, he's like,
doing it because
I'm tired, man. I haven't been fighting crime lately. I'm so tired.
He's bored.
He's like, well, this sounds like an interesting crime to stop. I guess I can do this.
Look, these guys are dressed funny. I can probably take them.
It's like when a celebrity gets so big, they don't need the money, and they only like take jobs because the movie films in Hawaii or whatever.
Like, oh, these guys must be going back to the museum.
I love the museum. It implies, Pat. It implies that Spider-Man sometimes ignores crimes that seem boring.
Oh yeah, well you don't see him busting up white collar crime, do you?
That's true. I mean, this is part of my theory why people like Spider-Man and Batman are a part of enforcing hegemony, and they're actually bad. But
I'd love to hear that one. Oh, I'd love to hear that one. Is my response clear?
But he flicks a tracer onto their ship as they fly away. That's the whole point.
Good old Spidey tracer.
Meanwhile, a ragged-looking Lorna Dane, guess she survived, calls the X-Men, but receives no answer. Why, Pat?
I don't know, Matt. We're not following the X-Men.
Instead, she calls the bubbly bouncing blue beast at the Avengers Mansion, who instantly Quinjets off to the X-Mansion. Thor seems concerned. Hey, I wonder what happens to Beast in the X-Mansion.
I don't know. No. To clarify, the X-Men are trapped under Mesmero's mind powers. They have been for weeks, performing as a circus act.
Yeah, right. And if you want to hear about that, you can check out our previous episode.
That's right.
Back to Spidey, who is chasing down his spider tracer when he catches a glimpse of the two Egyptian stereotypes driving an ambulance through New York City. He follows them into the Egyptian embassy, where he sees a man wrapped up in tape with a weird hat, determines it must be this guy, Havok, he's heard about, and swings into action. He unties Havok, who energy blasts a dude point blank, and the two team up against the rest until they're interrupted by a particularly powerful blast. A blast that came from the Living Pharaoh.
There he is.
There he is. I deflated a little bit as I was trying to. Okay. The Living Pharaoh blasts Spider-Man through a window where he lands unconscious in front of a concerned woman who that never comes up again, right? We never see her again. We don't know why she's so concerned. We get the sense that she brings him back to health or something, but it's like never brought up.
This is a running joke in the Marvel team-ups that we read. There's just an old lady who is concerned about or by Spider-Man for 2 panels and then never reappears.
I could have sworn this person was going to, because she's like, this one's an attractive young lady. So I could have sworn she was going to be like somehow involved in the plot, but not at all.
They just wanted to draw a pretty young lady.
So while Spider-Man's getting thrown through a window, Havok trades blasts with our buddy Professor Abdul. This leads to a stalemate until a headdress dude sneaks up behind Alex and throws an Ankh necklace around his neck.
His one weakness.
According to Abdul, this, quote, turns Havok's power against him. Does that make sense to you, Pat?
As much sense as the rest of it does.
But somehow that knocks him out. They take Havok to the basements below the consulate and put him into an updated version of the tube from way back in X-Men 56.
How did they get this all done in the basement of the Egyptian embassy?
In case you missed that episode of our podcast or you forget, okay. The Living Pharaoh and Havok somehow draw power from the same energy source. And when Havok is alive, the Pharaoh's powers are diminished. If Havok's powers are negated, the Living Pharaoh turns into a godlike being called the Living Monolith.
A giant.
So this tube that Havok is in will not just block Havok's power like the last one did, but siphon it off and funnel it into the Pharaoh. This is very important. This will make him super powerful. However, when they go to close the lid, they find they can't because it's being held fast by a spider web. Spider-Man leaps from the shadows to beat these guys' asses.
Yes.
He's just about to free Havok when Abdal shows up back in his
No.
stupid living monolith costume. He's wearing the living monolith costume, but he's normal sized.
Yeah, he is fully off his meds.
Spidey bounces around, avoiding Abdal's blast, and punches him so goddamn hard that he goes flying across the room, accidentally landing on the lid to Havok's chamber.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man realizes he fucked up when he finds himself being gripped in the palm of the giant being known as the Living Monolith. I did manage to gin up some energy for that one, but boy, was it difficult.
This is
frustrating. Bad, not good. I think the way I just described it made it sound like it was a kind of an exciting comic book. But
and credit to you for that, Matt.
No. I'm saying when you just hear each event, it sounds like it could be an exciting comic book, but man, it was really not.
Yeah. There's just Chris Claremont, who I think is very good at writing characters in different voices, just doesn't quite have Spider-Man. And this is, I think, a very common problem with Spider-Man writers is they want to be extremely quippy, but they're just not quippy people.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem in this issue is Spider-Man is just calling the living Pharaoh tin head over and over again, and like that's the extent of how clever he can be here. And again, he's just like
it's like a Bobby Drake insult.
Yes, and he's got some weird motivations. He's kind of
bumbling.
Yeah, and not that Spider-Man can't be bumbling. It's classic Spidey to have him accidentally set off the process that would end the world. But
yes, but it's not Spider-Man to web up a door on his side of the door, on the side of the door that he's on, so he can see the webs, and then say, I'm going to get those guys, and run into the webs that he just made.
And get stuck in those webs. Spider-Man can climb on his own webs. That's his whole thing.
Absolutely ridiculous. The one of the insults he calls, and there's some Chris Claremontisms in this issue. Some Claremontisms for us to watch are these two, and then the one that doesn't occur in this issue, but watch out for Claremont saying to coin a phrase wrong, which he might be doing as a joke, but it's hard to tell. We'll see it. Spider-Man calls the Pharaoh guys bunkies.
He does. That's an odd one.
It's
all right, bunkies.
Yes, which apparently is just like a very rare slang term that means like kind of ineffectual or weak person. It more often, like I looked it up in the slang dictionary. There's a website that traces slang throughout history, and I looked it up, and basically every appearance in literature is about bunkmates, and there's like 3 in 100 years where it was an insult meaning like weak or ineffectual person. But yeah.
He has one good one when he first sees the men in the Egyptian costumes.
Yeah.
He says they look like they are from 10 Commandments meets Star Wars.
All right. When I was writing the recap, I almost wrote 10 Commandments ass looking, but then he said it. So another Claremontism is when somebody says in a word, like they'll be like, I'm going to show you what's what in a word. Punch. I don't know. That's a bad one, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He says he'll sum something up by saying in a word, and then after just saying like 30 words.
Yeah, his characters will do that, right? It happens across characters.
Yeah. There's some other stuff, like another thing, there's some good art and some terrible art in here.
Oh, yeah.
There's one great panel, the one where Spider-Man is crashing backwards through the window after the living Pharaoh hits him with a blast, is amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful panel.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Mid-action, things everywhere.
the physicality is great. It's a great looking Spider-Man. Then not that long afterwards, Spider-Man does a double kick upside down. He's like
Oh, yeah.
he flips upside down and he kicks two dudes at once. So he just kind of looks like he's showing us his ass. He looks like he's setting up to do one of those upside down the way that people who can't twerk, where they go upside down and go up on the wall.
He's, when Mario in certain Mario games can like butt attack, he can pound his butt down on the ground really hard. Imagine that upside down. It's not a flattering picture of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There is one more place where I think Byrne nails it is the concentric power circles coming out of Havok when he dons his costume and starts shooting at the bunkies. It's a really fun take on the Neil Adams concept of just like the concentric circles shooting outwards. He draws this very cool sort of like cylinder shooting out as a ray of energy. It's really original and beautiful. It's very John Byrne.
I like that this is becoming the standard way of drawing Havok. And I guess this implies on some level that Havok is always wearing his costume, and the activation of his powers will make it visible.
Yeah, I think it's like they all right now they're all kind of leaning on the unstable molecule costumes that they have to do a lot of plot filling for him.
Yeah. All right, Pat.
To correct a lot of continuity errors.
Here's what I would like from you. If you
would.
Would you read me Marvel Team Up number 70?
You were supposed to read this before we got here, Matt. I'll recap it for you if you like.
I know. I had to take a big, really long pee. Like I peed for so long, I missed this one.
No, that's okay. You probably had a better time. Marvel Team Up number 70, Whom Gods Destroy. Chris Claremont, author, John Byrne, penciler, Tony
DeZuniga?
Tony DeZuniga, inker, Annette K, letterer, Phil Raish, colorist, and Jim Shooter, editor.
Ooh.
I think, again, we're catching the Archie Goodwin to Jim Shooter transition.
Yeah.
2 episodes in a row. Release date March 28th, 1978. Cover date June 1978.
Okay.
The living monolith is, for some reason, walking around and trashing the city like Godzilla, with Spider-Man clenched in his fist like Fay Ray and King Kong.
Why is he doing this?
When Spider-Man annoys him too much, he flings him down into the city where he is caught by the mighty Thor.
Oh, cool.
Turns out this is a Spider-Man Thor team-up.
Which we didn't tell you. It was on the cover. We knew that.
Spidey quickly fills him in on the plot of the last issue, and Thor goes rocketing off to slam the monolith in the face with his hammer. This does nothing, and Monolith backhands him across the city.
It's interesting that it does nothing. Don't you think? It's almost like if Thor used all his power and slammed this guy in the face with his hammer, if he, like, say, did it again, it would still do nothing, right?
Right. Yeah. Wild that he can withstand hits from the hammer of Thor.
And we should probably just remember that he can withstand hits from the power of Thor.
Spider-Man realizes the obvious, that if Havok's power is being siphoned from the chamber, why not just free Havok from the chamber?
Yeah.
Thor throws his hammer at it, but Monolith somehow overhears them and boasts that the casing is booby-trapped. He uses those words. And if they smash it, Havok will die and Monolith will still be ultra-powerful, which negates the entire reason for imprisoning Havok in the first place.
Yeah, what the hell? So why not just kill Havok?
I would, if he told me that, I would assume that he was lying.
Yeah, exactly. It's because it'd be like, then kill Havok. What are you doing? Why did you have him in this chamber? What is the point of all of this? Why are we doing any of this?
It doesn't matter, Matt. It's too late. Thor has already thrown his hammer. Spider-Man grabs it with his webs, diverting it just enough to miss Havok, but taking Spidey on a ride through the city and into Thor's arms. Why did we watch all that happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
Frustrated, understandably, Thor throws his hammer at Monolith's butt, and Monolith is launched into New York Harbor.
Wait, what?
His
I thought
face,
he didn't. When
his
he hit,
face is strong enough to take a hit from Thor's hammer. His ass, however,
he's strong enough to take a hit from Thor's hammer when Thor is using all of his muscles to swing it. But when Thor throws it through the air, it launches him across the city. It's okay. Look, we didn't address it last time. I still don't know who the fuck this guy is. I'm just excited to finally get some backstory.
Yeah,
in this
surely
issue.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Before we do, the living monolith knocked into the harbor almost crushes a boat, so Thor rushes to save it by creating a hurricane.
Yes. Good plan. Good plan, mighty Thor.
He and the monolith then yell at each other, comparing the powers of gods versus cosmic.
All right. The eternal argument. That's they say Rousseau versus Hobbes, Kant versus Hume, gods versus
God
cosmic.
versus space. Meanwhile, Spider-Man has an idea to go rescue Havok. A brand new idea he's never had before. He finds the chamber, beats up some bunkies, finds the booby trap, and using his spider sense, disarms it. I do love this. Spider-Man disarming a bomb by going to disconnect a wire, and right before he does it, his spider sense tells him, no, we'll all blow up if you pull that wire, until he gets the wire that doesn't trip that.
It does imply that Spider-Man just goes around doing the most dangerous things he can just to tell.
He pops the lid, pulls off the amulet, and Havok bursts out in a spectacle of circles. As the monolith's power fades, Thor hits him with a hammer and he disappears. The three heroes reconvene, and Havok remembers the fate of Lorna Dane, so Thor jets off with Alex Summers in his arms. The end.
Okay,
Matt,
sorry.
Matt.
Can you go back? What part? When did they explain
Who the fuck is this guy?
Who is he? Who is he?
So this has
Why is he here? What is he doing? Why bring him back if you're not going to explain what the fuck he's doing?
It seems like this was the same story, but condensed into 2 issues. They said, what if this happened with Spider-Man instead of the X-Men? And the answer is, it would be 33% shorter.
It must be. No, I was going to say it must be the good artists like to draw this guy, but this guy didn't exist before Neil Adams.
Right, and also he sucks.
He sucks. He
looks awful.
He looks bad. We don't really know what his powers are. We don't know why he exists. We don't know what his motivation is. We don't know where he came from. We don't know his first name.
Okay. What I'm pretty sure is canon at this point, at least. I know that this was our theory, but I think that this almost confirms that he's not really a pharaoh. He is just a mentally ill man.
Yeah.
Who makes terrible plans.
Okay. I want to talk about real quick when you were talking about, we mentioned Spider-Man using his spider sense to disarm the trap. And I immediately leapt to mind how good of a forager Spider-Man would be. Because he just walks through the forest, he picks something up, he puts it near his mouth, the spider sense goes off, and he's like, oop, not this one. And then he grabs something else, does the same thing, it doesn't go off, and he's like, I can eat that.
This one is either poisonous or explosive.
Evan said, this one is not poisonous. I do not know anything else about it. There's a couple absurd things in here. First of all, it's so funny when Claremont gives everybody names. So like in the last issue, he gave all the bunkies names. So it's like Mustafa, Jamil, Rashid, Ahmed, Abdullah, Kasim.
Right. These are their code names, I'm pretty sure, because they are all very clearly Italian-American men.
Yes, exactly. And in this scene, as a man is stomping around destroying people, everybody's shouting each other's names as they're getting out of the way. So like he's about to step on a car and Thor stops him, and it's like, whew, good thing Harley and Sissy are safe. I'm so glad that Thor saved Harley and Sissy of New York City, New York.
There's a civilian interaction that I think this goes back to just not really being able to write Spider-Man. This elderly couple is interrupted by Spider-Man. He lands, I think they're on the Empire State Building, and he needs to use their binoculars that they paid for.
For no reason, he just wants to look at Thor. Like, he knows exactly where Thor is and what Thor's doing, but he just wants to look at him.
It's a silly situation, but in a classic Spider-Man book, this would be rife with comedy potential. Instead, this couple just gets annoyed. He swoops off, and then we find out that the lady wants to go see the Rockettes. There's no punchline.
Remember when Dave Cockrum said that Chris Claremont has no sense of humor?
Yes.
I don't know what he was talking about. This shit's hilarious.
One last thing that really pissed me off.
Okay, he's pissed off, folks. All right, back up. He's mad. He's getting fumed.
Thor suggests that this guy is more powerful than Thanos.
He's more powerful than Thanos, Pat.
Come on, man.
No, he's more powerful.
This is the living monolith. Everyone laughs at this man.
Turns out he's more powerful than Thanos, except for if Thanos had a thing where if somebody let a teenager out of a cage, he would lose all of his power.
Right.
Sorry, I guess he's not I guess he's in his 20s. A grad student. If somebody let a grad student out of a cage, Thanos loses all his power.
I guess maybe he's as powerful as Thanos in his face, but not in his butt.
There's a moment where Spider-Man goes back to the Egyptian consulate and sees the bunkies loading Havok's chamber into a car. Right. And he notes, he's like, this guy's thought of everything. The car's got diplomatic plates. Even if the cops wanted to stop it, they couldn't. Pat, I'm pretty fucking sure that the cops are allowed to ignore diplomatic immunity okay, number one, let's start small. If they watch the diplomats kidnap a man.
An American citizen.
Yeah. Number two, if they know the diplomats are murdering people from the car. Number three, if it means stopping a giant skyscraper-sized monster stomping on the city, I'm pretty sure they're not going to get in trouble for ignoring diplomatic license plates.
It's out of their, I mean, technically it's out of their jurisdiction. I'm no lawyer. I'm pretty sure they have to call the military.
Yeah, it's like if Thanos drives over state lines, are the New Jersey police like, dang it. Dang it. Nope, Sarge. Nothing we can do about it.
Man, this sucked.
It's also just such a terrible plan. Like, I'm gonna take over the world with my superpowers as long as nobody goes near that grad student in a glass chamber. I left 4 men guarding him. Oh, fucking god damn it.
Okay, that's the end of this story.
Okay, so we know what
We
happened
are,
to Havok and Polaris
yeah.
right after, while they're recovering from their stint with Eric the Red.
We don't know what happens to the living pharaoh, so he is unfortunately
Missing, he's in the wind.
yeah. He may come back.
It would be
We
good
might
if
just
we saw him impaled on a spear, and then Thor chopped his head off like an Endgame.
honestly, I would like to see him get the help he needs.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Fucking high road mean, that's fine. Okay, so Havok is concerned about Polaris. We know she's fine. He thinks she's dead. He thinks she's dead in the water surrounding the Scottish Hebrides, but she's fine.
That's easily cleared up.
So, what happens to Havok and Polaris next? They're just hanging out on Muir Island until the X-Men show up in the next episode of Mutant Menace, or what?
Right. Yeah, there's a few issues of X-Men where they're just not present.
Yeah, so, and I think that'll happen a lot. I think we'll see Havok and Polaris missing a lot, but so I imagine they've gotten up to nothing interesting, right?
Yeah, well, you tell me, Matt, where do we find them next?
Well, we find them in Defenders number 62, Membership Madness!
This is so stupid.
All right.
Membership Madness.
David Kraft, who I've honestly never heard of, does the dialogue here.
David Kraft, Matt.
Okay.
Let me tell you a little bit about David Kraft.
Please.
I did a little research here.
Because you had also never heard of him.
This is, yes, I had also never heard of him, but I thought it would be very funny to look into somebody that neither of us had ever heard of. And I learned some interesting things. Number one, he is a fan first. This guy ran a few different fan publications, including in 1975, he took over editing of Foom, which was
Foom,
the Marvel-owned fan magazine, originally started by Jim Steranko, helmed it up to like issue 10 or 12. Chris Claremont took over for issue 13 and 14, but then had to go because in 1975 he had some other more important project.
What a dick. What's more important than Foon?
And then so Kraft
Foom
took over for him. He was a bullpen guy at the time. He had written a few stories for the Defenders before. He wrote every issue except for the first issue of Savage She-Hulk. If you know, Savage She-Hulk #1 was written by Stan Lee so that he could get the creator credit, and then immediately handed off to Kraft,
what a dipshit,
who wrote the entire run. It's a pretty good run. I have read it and just didn't realize that he was the writer.
Sure.
He was tapped to write. So he was a big music guy. There was a Marvel magazine that was putting out a lot of music team-ups at the time. They had a Kiss issue that went really well.
Is it the Kiss issue with blood in it? Or is that a later thing?
No, I think that's a later thing. This is the first appearance of Kiss in Marvel Comics. There is
interesting.
They have a canonical story. But so anyway, he was tapped to write Marvel's comic adaptation of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the movie.
Whoa, okay.
A 1975 jukebox rock opera featuring only Beatles music, featuring Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees. It is sort of like a Blues Brothers style, grabbing as many famous musicians as we can and stuffing them in to sing Beatles songs sort of movie.
Yeah, sure.
The movie, first of all, came out and was critically panned. Most people have not heard of it. The comic was missing deadlines left and right, so they pulled it. Production was in flux the whole time. So the movie itself was sort of being filmed on the fly. So the artists, who were George Perez and Jim Mooney, were told that they had to draw a specific list of famous musicians that would appear in the film. But because the film was sort of being produced on the fly, they didn't actually have the guarantees for all these stars, and half of them didn't end up in the movie. And also, Marvel didn't have the rights to half the stars that they listed anyway, so they wouldn't have been able to actually draw their likenesses in the comic. It is a wild story. I know George Perez is still very bitter about it. You can look at some of his quotes. But David Kraft went on to write a bunch of children's books featuring Marvel characters
Oh, okay.
through the 80s. And he also went on to found Comics Interview, which ran for 150 issues, won an Eisner for its in-depth creator interviews. It was sort of, for a long time, the standard for, I think before the age of podcasts, the standard for learning about creators and their thoughts on their comics.
That's so interesting. This guy seems like this guy rules.
Yeah, he's an important person in Marvel history for sure.
Wow. I mean, sounds like an important person in comic book history, right? All right. Well, so yeah, he's the writer here.
Who else?
The issue was drawn by Sal Buscema and Jim Mooney.
Sal Buscema?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Sal.
Sal Buscema ran a music magazine from 1964 to Jay Costanza is a letterer. B. Sharon did the colors, and Bob Hall was the editor, with Jim Shooter as editor-in-chief. Also, it says the word "awk" underneath for some reason.
No idea what that means.
Me neither. Andrew W.K., maybe?
Oh.
Release date, May 16th, 1978. Cover date, August 1978. The Defenders, Hulk, Hellcat, Valkyrie, and Nighthawk, are playing Frisbee in a legitimately funny scene when a bearded sunglass man named Dollar Bill, which is also a funny name, this already rules, rushes out to tell them about his Defenders documentary that's playing on TV.
If you don't know already that this is Dollar Bill, the only time his name is said is when he pops out and refers to himself in the third person. So I assumed this wasn't Dollar Bill, and I kept trying to figure out what his name is. And let me read you all of the things they call him,
Okay.
The Defenders. They call him Cutie, Fella, Buddy, Cinema Freak, Creep, and then Buddy again before they use the name Dollar Bill again.
I knew there was a character named Dollar Bill. So I knew who he was. But that is very, very funny. Why would you assume that was his name? Yeah. Okay, so the documentary airing on TV sparks an argument with Nighthawk because the Defenders are supposed to be a secret.
What?
But the others calm him down, and they all head inside. The documentary is like a promotional film showing some of the Defenders' greatest feats while aggrandizing Dollar Bill himself as their mastermind press agent. It ends with a shot of their address and a declaration that the Defenders are a non-team, meaning that anyone can just show up and declare themselves a member. Nighthawk is enraged. Hellcat is just excited to have been on TV. Hulk is confused by the whole thing as much as he was confused by Frisbee. And Valkyrie is trying her best to calm everyone down.
Important to note, this is the Defenders lineup right now.
Yes.
At this moment, the Defenders are Hellcat, Hulk, Valkyrie, and Nighthawk leading them.
What a strange team. What even holds them together? All right. Meanwhile, a weird, possibly robot man in gold suit of flying silver throne flies over what looks like a landfill and gets scared by something off panel. I don't care. Back at Nighthawk's mansion, the doorbell rings wildly, and over a dozen heroes stand on the lawn waiting to join the team. All right. Hercules, Miss Marvel, Black Goliath, who eventually just becomes Goliath. They call him Black Goliath because he's black. Like, that is...
Yeah. That's, and granted, actually, this makes it worse. There was another hero named Goliath.
So it's like, I'm Goliath. You can be Black Goliath.
Exactly. Yeah,
he's like, can I be Can I be Mega Goliath? Can I be Mr. Goliath? No.
I'll take Goliath 2.
Okay, so Black Goliath, Jack of Hearts, Captain Marvel, Iron Fist, Nova, Marvel Man, who I didn't even know existed, Son of Satan, Stingray, and, for our purposes, Polaris, who does not speak.
Once.
Not at all. They stare expectantly at Nighthawk, who is furious and throws Dollar Bill out of the front door. Falcon, sitting on the roof with the Prowler, calls Nighthawk out for his behavior. So Nighthawk pulls him off the roof, and then they take off as Nighthawk chases Falcon through the sky.
Immediate fight.
Yeah. Hulk, who has to be dissuaded from beating everyone up, walks off with Valkyrie to make everyone coffee, while Hellcat goes out to flirt with Torpedo, Paladin with 2 L's, and Captain Ultra. Have you ever read a Captain Ultra, a Paladin, or a Torpedo comic, Pat?
No, I've heard of Torpedo. I legitimately had not heard of Paladin or Captain Ultra.
I had heard of Paladin. I'd never heard of Captain Ultra. Nova, meanwhile, notices some horses and so persuades Marvel Man to catch and ride them.
Those aren't your horses, man.
Yeah, what are you doing?
They're fenced in. Somebody owns them.
And Nova's just like, let's go play cowboys together. It's like almost literally what he says. White Tiger, not wanting to be left behind, follows. The other new defenders try to nominate a leader. Our boy Havok.
He's got a line here.
Now we know where Havok and Polaris are. They went to join the defenders. What? We'll get to it. He agrees with Jack of Hearts' nomination of Captain Marvel. But Captain Marvel defers to Hercules, who gets a slew of votes, including the not yet mentioned Tagak. I think we've now mentioned everyone.
I do think that's everyone. Tagak is quite a pull.
Yes, I think he was in 6 comics ever.
Yes, he is originally a Daredevil character, which is why I know who he is.
I think he was in 2 Daredevil issues and then these 4 issues of the Defenders, and that's it. Polaris, who is on panel while everybody speaks up their votes, does not speak still. Still doesn't speak.
Nope.
Meanwhile, the horse gang, now with Prowler, chase some poor horses around, eventually mounting them while Nighthawk flies by, chasing Falcon and trying to beat him up. This spooks the horses, which makes the horse gang mad, so they chase the flying gang. Valkyrie is serving coffee to Son of Satan, Miss Marvel, Hercules, Captain Marvel, Stingray, whose mouth is fully covered, Pat, and Paladin. But when they take a sip, including Stingray, whose mouth is still covered, they all recoil in disgust and dump it on the ground.
Devastating.
Elsewhere, Torpedo pulls some heroes aside, and when Havok asks him why, the other heroes all have to individually say their own names and affirm that they agree with the question. He says, hey, why'd you pull us aside? And he's like, Tagak also wonders why you pulled him aside. Iron Fist, also seconds that question. And Black Goliath wants to know the answer to this too. It's so weird. Torpedo, it seems, thinks that Hulk is a menace and wants to create a plan to capture him.
Wait, Torpedo, he's your new teammate.
What are you doing, man? Hellcat is trying to bone both Captain Ultra and Jack of Hearts. Paladin walked away because he was married. But they're both overcome with jealousy. This is actually an interesting scene until the next moment, because they're like, hey, I want to bone you, Hellcat. And the other one's like, I want to bone you, Hellcat. You have to choose. And she's like, well, why do I have to choose? And they're like, hey, you can't play this game on us. And then
it's very anti-feminist. Their Captain Ultra and Jack of Hearts behavior here.
They are, yeah. But the idea of Hellcat just being like, hey, I could fuck both of you if you want. I'm down.
Yeah. Sick.
Is very rad. It's so cool. They're both overcome with jealousy, and Captain Ultra shoves her to the ground. And the two prepare to fight each other when the big chase, starting with Falcon and ending with horses, barrels through them. Meanwhile, Hulk sits down to contemplate the contradictions in his head. On one hand, he wants to smash. On the other hand, Valkyrie says no. It's a real quandary, and he decides he's just gonna leave. When suddenly, Iron Fist, Stingray, Black Goliath, Havok, HAVOK, and Polaris, who still doesn't speak.
She's the only one who didn't say Polaris would also like to know why.
They leap out of the bushes, led by Torpedo. Hulk drops his coffee, and the issue is to be continued.
Whoo!
This is great. This is so good.
Loved this.
Yeah.
Not a moment of important action. This is just all ego.
Just
pure ego conflict.
Superheroes chasing each other around in circles like a Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. And it starts with the cover too. Even the cover has just like it's got dollar bill telling you that this is going to be a wild issue, and then it's blank white space with a bunch of characters just like awkwardly floating around.
It's so funny. Aren't there characters on the cover that aren't even in the issue? Let me pull it back up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on the cover, Iron Man, Spider-Woman, Human Torch, Luke Cage, and Angel are all there. None of those guys are in the issue.
No. And it opens with them playing frisbee. It's so low stakes, and I miss this so much. Like and don't get me wrong, I am loving the Claremont X-Men, but when we get into their like personal drama and character moments, it's bleak. It's sad. They have all got reason to be very they've all got trauma that they're working through. Whereas the Defenders they're having trouble throwing frisbees to each other because they've all got different power sets. This is great.
So moving on to the Dollar Bill documentary, it's like he's bad at filming. So there's a shot of the Hulk upside down. There's a far too close up of Valkyrie. And they don't mention it in the dialogue. It's just like there's a scene where one of the villains escapes and Dollar Bill catches it on film, and the Defenders are like, oh my god, that's where he went. I didn't even...
It's so funny. This is Sal Buscema or Jim Mooney that's doing this, but he's drawing bad cinematography. That's all it is.
It's so good. Everybody's slightly off the center of the frame. There's like, oh man, it's so funny. And then like, when Nighthawk answers the door, Hercules is standing there and he's speaking for everybody. But then Marvel Man goes, hello, I'm Marvel Man. And Nova says, and I'm Nova.
And when Sam Wilson, the Falcon, is sitting on the roof and is like, hey man, maybe you should calm down. You're yelling at all these people, and I don't think you've ever met us before. Yeah. He turns around and he goes, and just who are you, Mr. Budinsky?
And then Prowler calls him a sorehead.
There's a wonderful detail where their HQ is actually in Long Island. Like, it's just further cementing these are the worst Avengers.
Yeah.
Everything they're doing is so petty, and it's clearly intentional, right? It's written in the style of a 60s or 70s comic book where they're all delivering corny dialogue to each other, but in the context, it's actually really effectively funny. Why would you call somebody Mr. Budinsky? In the first place, but also in this case, this guy is just being nice to you. Like, he's giving you some sage advice.
It's also funny that just to watch like the Hulk pass out coffee, and there's like a panel.
So domestic.
There's a panel where, Paladin asks for cream and sugar, and Hulk is like, drink it black.
Yeah.
And in that same panel, there's just like it's so funny to watch Havok just casually sipping coffee next to Captain Marvel. And I have to admit something. In this panel, it looks like Stingray his mask is lifted up a little bit.
Oh,
My fault.
he does the Spider-Man kiss thing to drink
Well,
coffee.
no, it doesn't look like it. It just kind of looks like suddenly the white part of his mask is just not there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know much about Stingray. Maybe he can just retract that piece of his mask when he needs to.
Man, it's so funny.
It's
so
very good. It gave me some hope for the run that we're getting into, and I am excited.
Wait, 2 other quotes.
Yeah.
Number 1, when Nova falls off his horse, he says, "And to think this is happening to me, Richard Rider."
So good.
And another person, so I don't know if you've ever seen Captain Ultra's costume. It's Pat, describe Captain Ultra's costume to me.
Bold.
Somebody calls him Captain, Jack of Hearts calls him Captain Colorblind, which is very funny.
And that's Jack of Hearts. I don't think anybody has a tackier costume in this issue than Jack of Hearts.
I think Marvel Man and Captain
Son of
Ultra.
Satan.
I kind of like Son of Satan's. No, actually, I don't. Tagak suck. Man, they all suck. Torpedo sucks. These are bad characters, dude.
Can we just go over the full list one more time? These are people who wanted to be defenders for
yes, and let's say as you say them, if you know who they are or if you've read a comic with them in it, besides this one.
Yeah. Okay. And if you, the listener, please let us know at mutantmenacepod@gmail.com. We gotta know some context for these folks.
So start listening.
Number 1, Ms. Marvel.
Yes and yes.
Easy. Yeah. Know who that is. Number 2, Son of Satan.
Yes and no. I know of him. I never read him.
I've already forgotten the rules, but only tangentially know Son of Satan. Jack of Hearts.
Yes and yes. I read him in Jeff Johns' Avengers run.
Ooh, okay. I read him in the Avengers Disaster comic.
Avengers Disassembled.
Yeah, Disassembled, which is also part of that big event series that we were talking about at the beginning of the episode. Yeah. And that is also written by Bendis, but he dies and then comes back in a terrifying way. That's all I know him for, though. Stingray.
Yes and no.
Okay. Feel like I've heard the name before, but that's about it. He flies at one point. I did not know he can fly. Black Goliath, eventually just Goliath.
People often just call him Bill Foster, right?
Right.
You hear heroes constantly talking about like, oh, we should consult Bill Foster, the scientist, on this, who is Black Goliath, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw him die in Civil War.
Yes. Yeah, he dies in Civil War and
Clone Thor flies through his chest.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
But I've never read like a Black Goliath comic.
Yeah, I don't think there have been many, honestly.
Yeah.
Hercules.
Yes and yes.
Yeah, everybody knows Hercules, half son of Zeus.
And I think he was in in the early 2000s, he was in a comic that people liked that introduced Amadeus Cho, right?
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the introduction, but it was him and Amadeus Cho as buddies.
I've only ever seen him in other people's comics, which I think is there's just not that many Hercules solo comics out there. Iron Fist.
Yes and yes.
Yeah, of course. We just read him last episode. Captain Marvel.
I knew who he was. Never read a comic with him in it.
I've never read a Captain Marvel comic. I have read comics where he shows up. Nova.
Obviously knew who he was. Also, I don't think I've ever read a comic with Nova, especially not that Richard Rider Nova in it.
Yeah, actually. Who's the more recent Nova? The Kid Nova?
Yeah, Kid Nova, who was in the New Warriors.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've read him in a lot of comics. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually read Richard Rider.
I just read him in the New Warriors in a Toad story from 1991.
Yeah. Marvel Man.
No and
We just
no.
talked about this.
Yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously.
Yeah, it was like 5 episodes back that we read Falcon. The Prowler.
I knew who the Prowler was. I don't think I've ever read a Prowler comic. I've seen him in movies.
I have
video
actually.
games.
There's some good Spider-Man comics featuring the Prowler as sort of like a borderline villain hero. Torpedo.
Yes and no.
I thought Torpedo was a villain. I thought he was like Spider-Man's rogues gallery.
Maybe he becomes a villain. It's hard to say.
Paladin. 2 L's.
Yes and no.
Paladin.
How about you? You never heard of Paladin before, right?
Osama Paladin. No.
Yeah.
Captain Ultra.
No, not at all. No
fucking clue.
I mean, I've seen him. The only time I've ever seen Captain Ultra was in like a Sporkle quiz.
White Tiger.
Yes, and I've read the second White Tiger and stuff. Never the original White Tiger.
Yeah, only read he's plays a key non-superhero part in Bendis's Daredevil run.
Does he?
Very good, but
Then I guess I
not,
have read him. I don't remember.
Not like it's not like reading a White Tiger adventure.
Well, that's the run that introduces the new White Tiger, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I don't remember the old White Tiger being in that.
Havok. You heard of this guy?
No. Who is he?
How about Polaris? You know a Polaris? And finally, Tagak.
No, not even a little.
Really? I have read his Daredevil
issues.
appearance, and I did not know that he was considered a hero beyond that.
Didn't he came from another universe where he was like
correct. He is a leopard man from another universe that, of course, was originally thought of as a villain, but turned out to be a good guy just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Why are Havok and Polaris here? They don't even like being heroes.
They barely speak.
And Havok's whole character is, I don't want to be a hero. I just want to be in the desert and a grad student. And Polaris she's just like, yeah, I don't think she's anti being a hero, right? But she's kind of like, I'd rather be with Havok than anything else. And I didn't know I was a mutant until I was well into my adulthood. So
here's my thought, because they have a lot of heavy hitters here too. People who are former Avengers. I don't think they would necessarily want to be a defender, right?
But current Avengers, as we'll find out.
I think David Kraft was like, hey, I have a story idea. What heroes are available? Like, who's not tied up in another project right now? And Havok and Polaris just escaped their situation.
Yeah.
So clearly they're free. They haven't gotten back to the X-Men yet.
Right. I wonder if he was like, I want some X-Men here. And they were like, sorry, dude, all the X-Men are taken.
Yeah.
And then after some arguments, they were like, fine, you can have Havok and Polaris. Why he couldn't have Iceman, I have no idea. Like, I think
that would have been a great fit.
The champions are over because Hercules is here, right?
Yeah.
So why couldn't they have Iceman and Angel? Why wouldn't they be here? That they would make more sense. It would make more sense for Angel to be like, I'm going, Bobby, come with me. And Bobby'd be like, I'm studying. Fine.
If you want some egotistical heroes that would be motivated to be on a team, it's right there.
Yeah. It's so strange. It doesn't make any sense why Havok and Polaris would be here. But they are.
But
and
it doesn't matter. It's
it is now in continuity. For 1 minute, Havok and Polaris were like, I want to be on a superhero team.
But not the X-Men.
I don't want to call my friends in the X-Men and fight crime with them.
All right. Well, I think that brings us up to Defenders number 63.
Okay.
deadlier by the dozen. David Kraft stories, Sal Buscema and Jim Mooney artwork, Jay Costanza letters, R. Slifer colors, and Jim Shooter editor-in-chief. Release date July 4th, 1978. You know what's significant about that date, Matt? It's the 4th of July.
Oh.
Cover date September 1978. The new Defenders are attacking the Hulk. Goliath is punching while Torpedo and Havok blast him. Iron Fist, who has for some reason abandoned the Hulk gang and joined the Horse gang, is flung from his horse as Nighthawk continues to try to fight Falcon for telling him to calm down last issue. Hulk loses it and pounds the ground, sending everyone flying. Iron Man shows up to deliver a letter to Hellcat and tell everyone that a bunch of villains have declared themselves Defenders and are fucking up Manhattan. I think David Kraft got a note that's like, listen, if you just have them fight some villains, we'll let you use Iron Man. Hercules, who has been elected leader. I don't think we mentioned this, but it's very funny that in front of Nighthawk, the current leader, everybody is like, well, who would be the best leader on this team? Let's go with Hercules.
Well, I'll say Nighthawk is right now flying around his mansion grounds chasing Falcon, so...
Trying to fight one of the most noble heroes in comics.
Yeah, yes. For sitting on his roof, number one, and for telling him that he's being a little mean, for two.
Hercules gets everyone under control by hitting them with a tree, tearing a tree out of the ground on this property and hitting everybody with it.
Yeah.
And then briefing them on the situation.
Yeah.
Everyone is on board to fight the villains, except for Hulk, who jumps away, fucks off. He's not here anymore.
He's just like, I don't want to.
They divide the teams into 3. Hercules takes Havok, Hellcat, Goliath, White Tiger, Captain Ultra, and Iron Fist. Valkyrie takes Falcon, Torpedo, Stingray, Prowler, and Jack of Hearts. Nighthawk, apologizing for being a dick, takes Nova, Son of Satan, Tagak, Marvel Man, and Polaris.
There's 2 of those teams I would find really interesting to read.
Polaris finally speaks, asking why no one picked Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, or Paladin. I guess they just intuitively knew or something that those 3 have had enough. Captain Marvel just isn't into the vibes. Paladin only works for money. Did not know that. And Ms. Marvel just remembered that she's an Avenger. And the 3 of them take off.
She's just like, I'm in the Avengers, so I'm not sure why I'm here.
This.
Why are you here? Why did you show up?
For the fame, Matt. For the cheap fame.
It just seems like I think they forgot. This happens a bunch in this series. There's just so many characters. They kind of forget who is where. And people will just appear or disappear or suddenly be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Bye. Or like earlier, like Nova was suddenly on a horse. Not Nova, Iron Fist was just suddenly on a horse when before, like the last we saw him, he was leaping out of the bushes to attack the Hulk. Like,
they're clearly losing some people here. But including Valkyrie's team. They fly off and we just don't see them again for the rest of the issue. Hercules' team, the entire team, jumps into Hellcat's cartoon-ass, Roger Rabbit-ass looking 2-seater car with Havok literally hanging off the back.
Yeah.
They cannot fit the whole team.
Like legs up in the air, hands on the back of the seat, and flying.
And Bill Foster stays full size.
Well, at first that seems normal because he's running alongside the car, and we're like, oh, and it's like, oh, okay, he's just gonna run. But we'll revisit that in a minute.
Nighthawk's team takes to the air, forgetting that Tagak can't fly, and Polaris thinks to herself that she wishes she had been on Valkyrie's team instead.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They arrive in Greenwich Village carrying Tagak by his 2 arms, just in time to see a man whose car was stolen by a big, powerful villain calling themselves a Defender. Instead of
funny. This is so funny.
This is so good. Instead of having Polaris just float the car back, they chase it, slam into it, carry it back, only to find out that the thief was just the man's young son.
He says, a big, powerful guy calling himself a Defender stole my car. was lying. It was he knew it was his son.
He wanted to teach him a lesson.
And the son's just like, "Oh, Dad, don't be mad at me. I was just playing a joke." Like,
the dad gets mad at the defenders for scrapping his car, and then Nighthawk threatens to beat him up. He and his son drive off, vowing to sue them. Polaris suggests that maybe the entire crisis is media exaggeration.
yeah, because the first villain calling himself a defender was just didn't exist. Didn't even
Great
exist.
instincts. Cut to that weird gold guy from last issue. His name is codename Sergey, and he's in Russia. And what he saw last issue was some giant irradiated amoeba. He tries to fight it, but gets sucked in.
I don't care, Pat.
Matt,
Why'd
they're
you tell
setting
me
up.
that?
It seems like they're setting up a story for a different comic book in like these little 2-page bursts through these issues. But we are not going to get there.
Yeah. Did they know that we're not following the defenders? Did
guess
anyone
not.
tell them that? Okay.
We cut back to Hellcat's Looney Tunes Dick Tracy-ass Playmobil toy car, where Hercules' team is crammed in and arriving in the Diamond District of Manhattan.
This is where we see fucking Black Goliath. They're all now in the car somehow, and Black Goliath is still giant size.
Yeah, they're barely fitting in. And it's because Bill Foster will not size down.
Yeah.
They see a David Bowie-looking villain named Sagittarius standing on top of bags of loot with Blob, Whirlwind, Porcupine, Batroc the Leaper, and Beetle bagging up more and calling themselves defenders. I guess we're meant to assume this is all stolen.
Yeah, what's loot? Just loot?
I think it's diamonds. They make a few references later to it being diamonds, but it is not clear.
Is the point that in the Diamond District of Manhattan, there's just diamonds everywhere?
Yes, there is a diamond bank, and they have gotten to the vaults.
Okay.
They have like trash bag size canvas bags full of diamonds, and there's dozens of them.
Well, at least they're being eco-conscious, using their canvas bags instead of plastic.
I'm impressed, Matt. We just did the hero knowledge comparison in the last issue. I got to these villains and I was like, I'm not even going to try. I don't know who the fuck these people are.
Really? I knew all of them. Many. I knew all of them except for Sagittarius so far.
I knew Blob. I knew Porcupine. I know who Batroc is. I do not recognize this costume he's in.
Whirlwind is actually a mutant. Weirdly enough, he's like an Avengers villain, but he's a mutant. I don't know who the fuck Sagittarius is. He looks like fucking David Bowie.
He does, like Labyrinth David Bowie.
Yeah, like a combination between Ziggy Stardust and Labyrinth David Bowie.
Yeah. Hellcat screeches to a halt and the defenders leap out to clobber the villains. Hercules punches the fuck out of the Blob. White Tiger kicks the fuck out of Batroc. Goliath backhands the fuck out of Whirlwind. Hellcat stomps the fuck out of Sagittarius. Iron Fist kicks a bag of loot the fuck into Electro, who I guess is here too.
Yeah.
The fight is going well for the real defenders when the cops suddenly show up. Hercules argues that they are the real defenders and these villains are imposters, but Sagittarius argues the exact same thing. So the cop declares that everyone is under arrest, including Plant Man, who we just found out is here too.
Okay.
To be continued.
They just keep adding villains. It's just like... It's clearly just like draw whoever
to be on purpose. It's that every panel there's a new like goofy Silver Age villain popping up.
Yeah, it's like, well, so Count Nefarious crew is almost entirely here, right? Except for the eel and Scarecrow.
This is the crew that bailed on him.
Yeah. There's also a guy in the background who has like a white hood and purple arms. Who I have no idea who the fuck it is.
No, absolutely no idea.
He's just white and purple. I've never seen this guy in my life. I've read so many Marvel comics. I've never seen this man. But hey, Havok is in that last panel, so that's why we're reading this.
It is. Havok's in the first couple panels too. And did you notice they just forgot to color him in? He is all white. I think this is still so funny.
It's really good.
The superheroes are letting their egos and the world of politics get in the way of absolutely everything. They don't help anyone here. They
No.
only make situations worse.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so good.
I don't even know that I have a lot of, because it's all here on the page. All the ridiculousness is here on the page.
Yeah. He has out-sillied us.
Yeah,
David Kraft.
exactly.
It's so good.
Like, I can't even. Yeah.
It's very like I have a few comparisons, but it feels like a return to sort of the early 70s of Marvel with Steve Englehart, Steve Gerber, Marv Wolfman days where they were trying to be just as weird as they could and were really trying to like stick it to the man in a very hippie way.
Yeah. I mean, Steve Gerber wrote The Defenders before David Kraft came on.
Right. And who was writing them when we read? Was that Steve Englehart? It took itself a little more seriously.
It's so... I love... Hellcat is just happy to be on a team with a bunch of what she calls hunks. What is her car, dude?
That is so... we use a lot of comparisons to describe it in our recap here, but Roger Rabbit...
It is Roger, yeah.
Roger Rabbit's car is the best one that we have. The first and the best one.
It is absolutely Roger Rabbit's car.
It just doesn't talk.
And man, Nighthawk is so mad throughout this whole story. And he threatens to beat up the guy. Oh, no, I thought he threatened to beat up the guy's car. But he's making like he's using it as like a metaphor to threaten to beat up the man.
Yeah, exactly. He's physically threatening this man just for being rude, but as a superhero, and we've talked about Nighthawk before. This was, I believe, a Steve Gerber creation for an issue of Avengers where they wanted to make fun of the Justice League. So they brought in Nighthawk to make fun of Batman. This is supposed to be like the arrogant, over egotistical version of Batman.
It was a Roy Thomas creation, yeah.
A Roy Thomas creation, thank you. We cut where I said it was anybody else. They do, it's like, it's supposed to be a parody, and then for some reason he got stuck in the Defenders and took on this sort of serious persona as a real superhero.
Yes, and so I think maybe as a comment on that. So, okay, I've been flipping through. Len Wein wrote the last Defenders that we read, and it was right after Nighthawk joined. And then Steve Gerber writes the Defenders for like a long while, and then I think I read somewhere, I haven't clicked all the way through to it, but I think I read somewhere else that like Chris Claremont writes maybe 2 issues.
Okay.
And then it is David Kraft. And it seems like David Kraft is making fun of how serious Nighthawk has grown to take himself.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Absolutely. And I would believe that's started by Steve Gerber. I think this is right around when he invents Howard the Duck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's David Kraft is writing in the tradition of Steve Gerber, who's making fun of Len Wein for writing a series. It seems like at some point somebody wrote a serious Nighthawk and it made some other writers mad.
Pissed off a lot of people, yeah.
They changed it from being he's just a doofus, which is how we read him in the Len Wein issues, to just an angry jackass.
Yeah.
Which is how David Kraft writes him.
Which I think is the ideal way to portray him.
Yeah.
Like, what would you hate about having Batman on a team? Yeah, he's a real prick.
Yeah, he's just being a baby about everything.
And he talks about how rich he is a lot.
This issue ruled.
Absolutely ruled.
Okay. Defender 64 D-Day.
Written. Okay. You can't just call something D-Day.
At the end of last issue, they said they were like, next issue, Day of the Defenders. And then in this one, they call it D-Day. Written by David Anthony Kraft, drawn by Sal Buscema and Don Perlin, lettered by Jay Costanza, colored by Bob Sharon, edited by Bob Hall. Jim Shooter, editor-in-chief. Release date, July 25th, 1978. Cover date, October 1978. The argument between the cops, Hercules' team of defenders, and the villains continues. Hercules tries to settle the matter with his Avengers ID, but while they look it over, the villains flee. The heroes give chase into Grand Central Station, and Hercules, satisfyingly, bulldozes through the turnstiles.
This is pretty cool.
Fuck the MTA, right? I don't have any stake in that fight. I don't live in New York. White Tiger tackles Batroc. Captain Ultra meets Whirlwind in midair. Iron Fist karate chops a guy I don't recognize. That purple and white guy from last issue. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. And Hercules takes a big swing at Blob's huge belly with a beautiful blom.
Blom.
As his fist bounces off. The villains hop on a subway car, I guess, like, too fast for the defenders to stop. Like, what? They get on a subway car, and
they're like, bad heroes, Matt.
They don't have time as the doors slowly close. Anyway, the subway takes off, sped up by Electro's powers. The defenders fail to stop it, and so take to the streets, following the path of the train with Captain Ultra's, quote, scanner vision.
What is this?
I don't fucking know, man. We're not following Captain Ultra. We get a quick cut to Dr. Bill doing something that seems to have something to do with another Defenders story, but of course, we're not following the Defenders, so we don't care.
Leave me out of it.
We catch up with Nighthawk's team in Wall Street, who quickly stop the same kid from earlier from stealing a purse.
His mom's purse.
His mom's purse. When the team questions whether or not this is a waste of their time, Nighthawk calls them all babies. And so they all quit, including
lucky Cyclops wasn't there.
Including Polaris, and they fly off. The kid hands back the purse, revealing that it was just his mom after all.
Sorry.
What's with this kid's fucking family, dude?
I know. These parents need to take some responsibility here.
Immediately, Nighthawk is alerted to another group of supervillains parading as defenders. Shocker, Boomerang, Frog Guy, Melter, a big blonde man with a beard, and buddy, it's Toad. There's Toad back. Now. Clinging to the leg of their leader, Libra.
The only reason Nighthawk hops in is because it's Wall Street. He was like, oh no, not Wall Street. It's like, so the stock exchange. He says, oh no, buddies. Not the stock exchange. Those are all my friends. And my money.
My money's there.
Not my money.
Oh, man. They quickly beat Nighthawk's whole ass and walk away. Nighthawk,
very satisfying again.
Punch drunk, goes looking for help. Meanwhile, Hercules' team catches up with the group of villains, and that guy I didn't know the name of is apparently the Looter. The Looter. Okay. Who knew? They all tussle, but Blob grabs Hellcat in a stranglehold, cutting off her air. As she faces death, her psychic powers kick in, and somehow she knocks out every single hero and villain in the subway, which I guess includes Havok, but he's nowhere to be seen.
Hellcat can do this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We're not following Hellcat. Nighthawk catches up with Valkyrie and joins her team, who heads off to the docks to find Libra and his villains, including some cowboy villain named Pecos.
Yes.
I guess. His power is he's just got a gun.
Cowboy accent. Toad, he's got two 6-shooters, Matt.
Toad flees, hopping into the water and calling Libra master. Oh, he's back to that.
He's regressed.
Yeah. Just as the team lands on the villain's ship, Valkyrie starts hallucinating that she is on a Viking ship being attacked by trolls and starts lashing out in all directions. Oh, also the blonde guy's name from earlier.
With a beard.
The blonde guy with a beard, his name is Joe the Gorilla, which we find out just before he's thrown like a mile into the air by Valkyrie. Like he passes a plane. She starts knocking literally everyone off the boat thinking they're trolls, leaving only Nighthawk, who thinks she kicked out the other new defenders on purpose. He's like, good job, Valkyrie. You got rid of those other Johnny-come-latelys. She, taking Nighthawk to be a troll, almost guts him when her sanity returns. As the other defenders pull themselves out of the water, they all resign.
Of course,
all of them. Like, what? Why did you do that? I'm out of here. Before the issue ends, we see the Russians talking about the new Red Guardian and learning about codename Sergei. I don't care. To be continued.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't know. They say "damn" in this issue, Pat.
Yes, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, I love when superheroes cuss.
This is kind of the worst of the 3 of these issues so far.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so. It does seem like, and I know we had the same complaint about the movie, The New Mutants.
Okay.
But it seems like this was the part where somebody was like, Dave, man, you got to put some actual superhero fights in here. This is a superhero comic book. Like there is, I think, the continuation of this very funny sort of commentary that he's going for, but with actual fight scenes being forced in to the satirical plot. When it happens, we get to see Nighthawk get his ass kicked.
He gets his ass kicked. It's funny to see Black Goliath try and stop the train, and then Hercules is like, I'll help, and then also grabs the train, and it just makes the train car snap off. It's also funny.
They just pulled the last car off, and then later on they ruin the rest of those people's train ride.
And then they're just running. This is okay. There's some good stuff here. Okay, so spray painted on that car is Turk. The name Turk.
That's pretty good.
From Daredevil. But next, they're all just running down the street, chasing the car, the train car that's underneath them. Yeah, and Hellcat is like out of breath.
Yeah, they have to run. How are we supposed to keep up with a train?
And they're being yelled at by people like, you messed up our train. We're late to work now.
Captain Ultra is flying and is like, you guys gotta keep up. We're chasing a train. In the last issue, they did the same thing where they were like, hey, you guys gotta slow down. Some of us are carrying Kagak because he can't fly. Please.
Hey, how does Havok, Iron Fist, and Hellcat run as fast as a train?
Super motivation.
So yeah, then they fucking ruin the train. It's so funny when the kid snatches the purse, and like 4 superheroes, 4 like Tagak, Nova, Son of Satan, Night Thrasher, all bear down on a kid with a purse at once. And he's like, oh no, not again.
They're like, is this the same kid? That's part of what I love is they are taking the time in these stories to make those little jokes. It is the same kid, or you're going too fast. Please slow down and let me catch up. It's what they're doing here very subtly is having the civilians involved in all these hijinks just make like snide comments about how their day is now ruined because the Defenders are not in any way, whether it's the original team or this full cast of people who want to be Defenders,
Yeah.
they are not in any way capable of handling a situation. They are ruining days, in some cases ruining lives of the people around them.
Yeah.
They're making a mess of the city, and they are not beating the bad guys.
It's funny when Whirlwind fights Captain Ultra. He's like, "What's your name anyway, fella? Captain Eyesore?" and he says, Captain Ultra goes, "No, it's it's Captain Ultra."
Idiot. Take that back.
Pat, do you want to sum up the final issue of Defenders, the Defenders for a Day storyline?
I'm sorry, I do have to correct you on that one, Matt. This arc is officially named Dollar Bill's Documentary Debacle.
Okay. If you look it up in, say, the Marvel Wiki,
sure,
they're called this whole team is called the Defenders for a Day.
Yeah, the team
Okay.
is called Defenders for a Day. This is part of the Dollar Bill's Documentary Disaster arc, according to the Marvel Wiki, who settles all our debates.
According to Comic Vine, it's called the Defenders for a Day arc.
That's nonsense. You just said nonsense. All right. I win the argument. Matt, let me tell you about the relevant parts of Defenders number 65 of Ambitions and Giant Amoebas.
I can't wait to see what happens to our boy Havok, because Polaris already left.
David Kraft story, Don Perlin and Bruce D artwork, Gene Simek letters, P. Goldberg colors, Bob Hall editor, Jim Shooter editor-in-chief. Release date August 29th, 1978. Cover date November 1978.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
The issue opens with Havok quitting due to Hellcat's psychic attack and Blob wondering why he ever joined another supervillain team. That is the extent of what's relevant to the X-Men in this issue.
Huh.
That's it.
Okay. Well,
they go on to address that story about the Red Guardian and codename Sergei and the weird
boring
creature he's created.
I'm so bored.
Matt, I read through this issue. It is not fun at all. Like, it is insane the switch that they flipped to get right back to the Defenders, the core Defenders, taking themselves very seriously and trying to handle a high stakes threat.
That's wild because it's still very colorful.
It is. And look, it's got a Defenders twist. They're still like the B team.
It's got an appearance by Millie the model.
Yes. But it's just got like a boring conversation between Patsy Walker and Millie the model.
It's got the female Red Guardian who's cool. She's got a cool costume.
Yeah, sure. It's got cool things about it. It's just we just read, I think, a work of art. And now we're back to pop comics.
Yeah. Well, because there's a bit of me that was like, maybe I should read the Defenders.
I know.
But maybe not.
See, I think we've read the Defenders that are worth reading. But I love the way, so if we look at this as just a 3-issue arc with a little epilogue from issue 4.
Yeah.
It is clearly an extremely fun little run that's just sandwiched between stories where the Defenders do take themselves too seriously. Because we just came from, as we see in Dollar Bill's documentary, a situation where they had to save the entire world and they defeated some powerful villain to do so. And then we immediately go in. But in between, issue number 1 here everyone clearly takes themselves very seriously, clearly thinks very highly of themselves, and it's getting in the way of them being superheroes. Issue number 2, they can barely get over their egos to go fight crime, let alone get over their egos to beat a hodgepodge of low-tier villains. The Porcupine is here. And then Issue 3, they cannot win a fight without making things actively worse for the people they're trying to protect, or even without hurting their teammates. Every victory here comes from them hurting everyone on the board, whether they are friend or foe. And then everyone just quits because it's shit. Like it has a very well, actually, I'll get to this later. But it's just like this 3-issue story that is just there to make fun of B-tier superheroes.
That's true. I like some of the heroes in this, by the way. Like, I don't... like, I think Hellcat is kind of... I don't know. Like, okay, it's... any hero is only as good as what has been written featuring them, right? And I've never read a good Hellcat story, but I kind of like Hellcat based on her personality and her character design.
And her story as a whole is really fascinating. She was just Patsy Walker for a long time, and then
she was a pre-superhero Marvel comic book character before Spider-Man.
And then she gained powers through this really interesting bargain, and then went on to join the Avengers. I'm with you, Matt. I don't think these are bad heroes, but they are all B tier. Son of Satan is not like... no one's clamoring for that.
I love Havok and Polaris. I love Stingray's costume. I've never read a Stingray story, like I said. I loved Jack of Hearts at the end of Avengers Volume 1, right? Like Jeff Johns' run and his return and explosion in Avengers Disassembled. I like Miss Marvel. Prowler's got a cool costume. I like Falcon. Like, I like a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
But damn, they are all so ridiculous. They're just so ridiculous. I like Iron Fist, obviously. They're just so ridiculous. It's so... and this is sort of the way I think... it's hard to say. You can tell very good and affecting stories with superheroes, right? We see it in Claremont's X-Men.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to not take superheroes seriously and do shit like this, right? Because at their core, they are ridiculous. Everything about them is ridiculous.
Right. It's high fantasy, essentially, of just like this deep lore and these ridiculous characters that are
wearing stupid outfits. They have dumb origins, and they have overly dramatic personalities. They're stupid. It's stupid. Superheroes are stupid, but they are tools which can be used to tell good stories and inject interesting personalities. But you can also do this. You can also tell ridiculous stories where they're idiots.
So if we're looking at this Havok and Polaris path as a whole, what are your thoughts here?
It's absurd. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay. The Claremont Burn stuff makes sense, even if I hate it, right? Abdul obviously would come back someday. Unfortunately, he'll probably do it again because it's his only path to whatever goal he has that we don't understand. But he must think about Havok every single day if they're drawing from the same power source. And he's like obsessed with becoming more powerful. So it makes sense. And then it makes sense that Havok would be worried about Polaris and then be like, I got to get back to her, right? This Defenders thing just doesn't make sense at all. Like, we could try and think of the psychology of it. It's like, maybe they were just sitting around one day. They saw the documentary and they were like, maybe we should give it a go and try to be heroes. But that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense with their characters. I cannot make it fit with their personalities.
I made it fit.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think I'm looking at this more from a storytelling perspective than a character perspective. I thought these team up issues were just silly. Sure, it makes sense that this would happen, but we're trying to follow up on a bad story here. Claremont has this need to take it very seriously.
Yeah.
There's so many inconsistencies around how this power works, and that's just we're not even improving the story. We are just leaving it with all the same holes it had the first time around. It just didn't need to be told. Whereas the Defenders...
I would say it would. I think there is a story there that does need to be told because, again, Professor Abdul is a loose end. It doesn't make sense that he would give up, right? But you're right. It's just the same story again. We don't get any more depth about it. We don't get any resolution. It's just the same exact thing.
Yeah, we substitute the X-Men for Spider-Man.
Yeah. A story needed to be told here. Oh, I still would hate it because I don't want to read about the living monolith. But a story needs to be told here for the Marvel Universe to make sense. But this wasn't that story.
The Defenders run, on the other hand, is silly intentionally. It's supposed to be satirical. Kraft clearly wanted to tell a story about cheap fame and how it creates fragile, disruptive personas. It's very relevant to and has a very similar feel, without the bite, I think, to Mike Allred's X-Force.
Yeah, Peter Milligan and Mike Allred's X-Force, which turns into Ecstatics. Yeah.
Yeah, which we will absolutely get to. One of, I think I borrowed that from you, Matt, and fell in love with it immediately.
It's so good.
But this feels like the same attitude towards it, right? This isn't Alan Moore's sort of dark, moody reflection on how corrupted the world would be if superheroes existed. This is just somebody saying, like, hey, it would actually kind of suck in a funny way.
They would be silly,
superheroes. Yeah. They would be silly and incompetent, and they would probably ruin your day.
Annoy everybody, yeah.
And that's what I want to read out of comics, which I know isn't sustainable. You need something to actually make a parody of. Which,
right.
Which is fine. We're going right back to Claremont X-Men after this.
Like I said, I think
very
you can
serious and high stakes again.
I think you can do it with both. But hey, I guess you asked me how I make sense of this story of Havok and Polaris is. I don't know that you answered that question. How do you make sense of this as part of Havok and Polaris' story?
I think it is and again, this isn't necessarily in character. It's more about the idea that this flashy documentary brought out the worst in all of these heroes. It brought out their egos. Right. It brought out their desire for that, like, 15 minutes of fame.
This is like when you're sitting around watching The Amazing Race with your friends and you look at each other and you're like, oh, we should go on that. Which yes. I've never done, but I hear that is a very common experience amongst people. Okay, so we have a little bit of bad news.
Yeah, a little devastating news. Let me make it a little more devastating for you, Matt, because you don't know this. We have a Pat Steals and Deals theme that we are allowed to use.
No!
Don't get to use this episode because, so as listeners may know, I have spent my vast fortune collecting every original issue of the X-Men. Yes. And from that, I have the original ads that appeared in those issues, and I like to read through them here when I find something that I think is a steal and or a deal.
I read everything from in trade, and so I don't have those. I don't have that.
Yeah. Because Matt doesn't have as much money as I used to before I spent it all on X-Men comics. But I had to go out and buy Marvel Team-Up comics and Defenders comics.
Yeah.
Last minute. So I couldn't get them from a reliable seller. And I don't know if you guys buy back issues at all, but it's this huge problem where people just go in and tear out the ads. So these legally purchased copies of Marvel Team-Up and Defenders that I bought, somebody went through and ripped out all the ads. I'm sorry. I don't have a Pat Steals and Deals for you this week.
Damn. Well, next episode, you guys can look forward to a Pat Steals and Deals theme song.
That's right. Get ready.
In the meantime, thank you guys so much for listening. Yeah.
It's not why we do it, but we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we would do it anyway. But and speaking of, if you guys want to help us get more listeners, which would be really fucking good for us, talk about us on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Mutant Menace Pod. Rate and review us everywhere you can on YouTube, on Spotify, on iTunes. Well, it's called Apple Podcasts now, Pat.
Oh, that's weird. What do I do with all these iTunes that I have?
And like we said at the beginning of this episode, if you want to join our street team, email us at mutantmenacepod@gmail.com. You can also email us there and give us your address, give us your favorite X-Man, and put street team in the subject line.
We will not read your home address on Pat's email corner, I promise.
We will only thank you. And if you want to be a part of Pat's email corner, write us about anything we talked about in this episode or just some other shit that you want to talk about.
Yeah, we just love chatting.
Mutant
We
Menace
love
Pod.
reading your emails on air.
MutantMenacePod@gmail.com.
As always, a big thanks to Krills Wilson for today, just the opening theme. And a huge
closing.
thanks. And close. Do we have a closing theme?
It's just
I guess it's the opening theme again.
part of the opening theme.
Big thanks to Julia Selly, as always, for providing the voice of Trish Tilby. And Matt, I think that leaves us with just one last thing to do.
Oh, yeah, this is the end where we say our catchphrase. Do you want to start?
Yeah, as always, listeners, I don't want to fight anyone, but you two have panicked my horse, and I can't stop.
You did a horse one. All right. And as we say every single episode, stop, horse. By the stars I said, stop.